Good morning. This is a podcast for the Matilda movie analysis for EDCI 2210, and my name is Elia Diaz.
I'm Ruiz.
Cassandra Benavidez.
And Francisco Guerrero.
And we're just going to be talking about how Matilda ties in with the educational purposes
Of the class. Just a slight summary, and then we'll be able to explain everything that we think it's related to a book and the teachings that we have learned in the classroom. If anybody wants to begin about the summary.
Just in case anyone hasn't seen it, there might be some spoilers in the podcast. Just to sum it all up, Matilda was a neglected child since she was little. She always had a desire to learn new things, and she taught herself how to read at an age of 4.
Well, you're kind of skipping that she had a really neglectful family even from the day she was born.
Yeah, she did. In the beginning, since she was born, they left her inside the car in her car seat, and she was barely out of the hospital. So that can show how much of a neglected family they were. She also had to beg to go to school, even though her brother was already going to school. Her parents didn't really want her.
Because who else is gonna get the mail? She's not there.
Yeah.
She taught herself how to read.
Oh yeah.
She taught herself how to read and would visit the library basically every day whenever her parents weren't home and brother was in school. She would just go to a library and learn how a library worked on her own. I never even knew how to go to a library until I was 11.
That's true. Well, when she asked to go to school, didn't her parents say something?
When she turned 6, her parents completely forgot her birthday, so they didn't even think about putting her into school. So when she was 6.5, she got in a big fight because she wanted to go to school already with her dad.
Yeah.
And then, she got in school because of her dad met the principal while he was selling what was it?
Shady business.
Yeah, her dad, Matilda's dad, was in charge of selling broken down cars, and then he would try to make them, fix them whatever problem they had and sell them for even higher prices.
No.
And then one of those transactions, she met Miss Trenchbull, which he later found out was a principal of a elementary school that he consent Matilda to.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of doesn't even make sense, but that's how they met, and he just sent her there.
He pretty much found out that it would be perfect for her to find out what elementary was really about in order for her to be less interested about school and, go back to the house and, like Luis said, go get the mail.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't thought of that.
Plot twist though, she met Miss Honey, which she was a really nice teacher, and she inspired her to stay more in school. Miss Honey actually discovered her weird gifted talent that she had. Since, there was this, in the beginning of school, but she got, Miss Honey's attention by doing this big equation that Miss Honey said. She said it to, playing around.
And in many ways, the character of Matilda perfectly embodies the definition of multiple intelligences. And as defined by Introduction to Teaching, it is a list of personal intelligences valued in school. And she is represented as someone of incredible intelligence at an early age, and her representation of telekinetic powers, which later go on in the movie, can be even described as a symbol of her bodily kinetic intelligence.
Which is basically a gift. Telekinesis is just an enhanced version of a gift that any kid can have.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. She didn't really use her powers for anything bad. She just did them for good things.
Well, she did play pranks on her parents, but she thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That one thing that her dad said to her when she was little, bad people get punished.
Bad people need to get punished, something like that.
Yeah, so she took it the wrong way.
I mean, she played pranks on Miss Trunchbull, but also she was very bad. She was.
Oh, Miss Trunchbull? Well,
Miss Trunchbull was the principal of the school. The neglectful? No, that wouldn't be the word. What kind of principal is Miss Trunchbull?
She was overall, Miss Trunchbull was just like a really bad, or she was the antagonist in the story. But it also the movie alludes to some like philosophies that she had like towards teaching, and you can you can connect these to essentialism, which was philosophy that gained popularity in the 1930s, which would also be around the time that Miss Trunchbull grew up, like around the 1940s, since the movie is, or the book was released in 1988.
More or less.
Yeah, so you can just, and I'm guessing that Miss Trunchbull is like around 50 or 60. She'd be growing up around the 1940s, where she would have that influence of essentialism onto her. And then you can definitely see how she uses that in Kunshin Hall Elementary, where she would, like, she didn't allow the classrooms to have colors or, like, crayons, and then she always had, like, a whip. Like, she literally ran a tight whip. And then, like, she would have the students, I don't know, really respect her authority.
Oh yeah, nothing like Miss Honey though. Miss Honey was more of a humanism kind of philosophy, where she believed first in the teachers. She believed first in the students. I'm sorry, not the teachers. She believed in like teaching the students and making them like be creative on their own way instead of having a strict discipline like Miss Trunchbull. She was overall very inspiring to the students, and she didn't even need to do anything big to get the students to love her. She was just in general very charismatic teacher, and she also made up for the family neglection that Matilda had. Like one of my group people said she filled the void in Matilda filled the void in Miss Honey's heart.
Well, they pretty much filled a void in each other's heart. They just wanted a loving family.
In many ways, Miss Honey was what many teachers should aspire to be, a very caring and understanding person that should be there for a kid, because if you think about it, teachers spend almost 8 to 9 hours with a kid a day, and, well, you know, we should try and give them everything that we can in every way, such as Miss Honey did with.
And then, like Matilda's dad said, it's your problem now.
Yeah.
But it's mostly because they spend all day with the kids. And in contrasting to what kind of you said, it's Miss Honey, right? Miss Honey is a really easy to love person. Miss Trunchbull is a really easy to hate or to fear person. Mm-hmm. Even though just because of the way she stands or the whip, it's just easy to be afraid of her. Even especially for just a little kid. Do we really have anything else to say?
I think that's overall the analysis. I mean, we can just, in society it's not really seen anymore. Like, it's rarely seen that teachers or like principals are given this kind of aggression towards their students anymore. The neglection in families, though, it's still seen because you still see kids that are still being abandoned by their family, and they're not really taken much care of. And
well, yeah, that's kind of pretty much it.
That's our podcast.
That's our podcast. See you next week.
Okay. Gosh.
Unless anybody has anything else to say, that'll pretty much cover it.
So we'll see you next week, where we'll cover James and Giant Peach, another classic of Rom Dom.